Hey, how's it going? So, yesterday, the day before, losing track of the days now, I had published a piece on WordPress, and it was entitled "Don't Rock the Boat, Babe." And it was because I'd been seeing all this flood imagery a lot, and it wasn't of like people's property getting destroyed or people getting destroyed in the flood. It was more about seeing like the power of the energy created when a flood happens, like walls of water, and they can so quickly just take everything down, just take it away. So and I'll link that, because sometimes I'll write something and leave a bunch of stuff out. like, because I can be long-winded very easily. I'm really when I do these videos and when I write, I'm really holding back. I have more to say, but I just know that you can't just dump everything on one, piece of information, because it just won't be accepted as well, or tolerated that easily by the mental digestive system. Short attention spans and so on. So and I suffer from this too. Anyway, one time I was talking to someone, and I asked them if they had read something I'd written, and they're like, "Oh no, it's too long." And I said, I do try to take the example that I saw in, what's it called? Legends of the Fall, where Aidan Quinn played, what was his name? Alfred Ludlow, and his father was Colonel William Ludlow, but I don't even know if this is the right movie. I get Legends of the Fall and A River Runs Through It confused a lot. So, having said that, let me just say it's the one with, I think it's Legends of the Fall, but Aidan Quinn's a writer, and he's getting advice from his father, Anthony Hopkins, who tells him, he turns in a piece and he says, go through it again and make it shorter. And he does it repeatedly until, because he's writing for a newspaper, he can't just vomit all everything. Like, there has to be room for the other information. So he's teaching him to learn to pare down his pieces. And I said to this person, yeah, I take that example because that person didn't know how many, how much editing had already gone into what I did release. So this is the same thing. Like, on the WordPress, I'm not going to put everything down there because I don't want to fatigue the reader. And then, like now, sometimes I'll do a companion video piece. And this is just to, it's not so much that more thoughts developed, although they have, but it was also to add some things that I didn't say in the written piece, in the text. So I talked a lot about a metaphor of the Tower of Babel story, and I'm not going to really go back into that because, like I said, I'm going to link the piece to the video. But I did focus on sort of superficial surface ornamental stuff, using that story as a metaphor for a certain type of person. And that type of person in the metaphor, and possibly the actual, real event, of the type of person that would have had to do with the making of the tower, of like the idea to even create it and keep building it and going higher and higher and higher till, I think I remember this part of the story, right? It became an offense to God's eye or something like that. God found it offensive. But like, even that's a metaphor, because it was ugly. It was too tall. It was trying to like surpass the height that God can reach. Maybe those things, but also like you don't, like, that shouldn't be like the height of desire, like what you want to achieve, what you want to make of your life. Like, it shouldn't just be about getting pretty shiny baubles to stick all over yourself to make you look good. So the other part of that I didn't talk about in either part, although I referenced it, was that the happiness and the goodness and all of the fortune and anything in like a person's life that's gonna be good and like elevate them and keep moving them up to further levels of abundance, which, think thesaurus, that word can have a lot of meanings. So think of all of those. And we tend to focus in reality on that kind of thing, and we neglect to take care of our inner selves. Like, a lot of the teachings I watch talk about not going outside of yourself to find what you want and what you need, because once you get into a state of mind where that makes some kind of sense to you, then you understand that you got work to do. Like, you have this whole fertile field of possibility inside of you, and you're wasting it. You're like using 10% of your inner brain when you have like a whole 90% that's capable of all this other stuff that you're just not even accessing. And you don't really, you've lost touch with it. You don't know it's there because the focus is on all of this outer, superficial, ornamental crap. And like, how do I look? And how do they think I look when they look at me? Do I look good? You know, it's like, you make yourself all crazy trying to figure out what the heck other people are thinking. And like, that becomes less important when you spend more of your time figuring out what you feel about all of it. What you look like, how that, like, some of that stuff you just start to realize is not so important. And like anything that takes practice to develop mastery, if you haven't like ridden your brain in a while, you may fall over because you're out of practice, or you just don't even know what the capabilities of the bike are, and the bike would be another metaphor inside a metaphor inside a metaphor for like your mental capacity, but not like intelligence wise. Yes, intelligence wise, but intelligence plus like emotional intelligence. And I'm not sure I can articulate it better further than that, but you have a lot to work. We all have a lot more to work with inside than what we're doing with the 10% on the outside that is like all consuming. And that's like a capitalism thing to me. It is bled into every aspect of our society, like how we think and like what we think we should be doing and what is okay to do to and with other people for our own benefit. The kind of the stuff that it just is not great. If you're professing to be these kind of high-minded things like a patriot or a Christian, when I look at those sort of definitions and kind of apply them to the people saying them, it doesn't really add up. It's just my opinion, but we have a lot of like problems sort of interacting with each other. Like, we kind of just are out of practice, and it's not just from COVID, it's because our attitude about interacting with each other has changed, evolved. Just, we've made it like really hard on ourselves to get along with each other, and it should be the easiest thing, because here's a heavy concept. Love like overcomes all. And if we took out words and replaced them with love, like I'm going to sell this crap to my brother. I'm going to love this whatever to my brother. Like, it would change the whole like dynamic of the thing. So just think about that. And it's a weird thing. It's like I'm not going to say it's new to me, but the application of it, I'm still trying to work it into my life. Like today, before I started doing this, and then I did something I don't normally do, is I went ahead and came on here with all of the irritation that I've been feeling all day. And usually I try to sort of get myself to a place beforehand where that's sort of like in its proper place. But I decided to let it just remain flared because I'm at a point right now in time, in the month, in astrology, in whatever like regulates things. It happens every month. Oh, the moon cycle. It might have to do with the moon cycle. It usually does. I always forget that. But yeah, I'm just like irritable and it's like, I feel like the lesson for me personally right now is how not to get irritated by every little thing. And it's hard. It's like coming hard and fast. Like, I have like a situation here with like a couple of cats, and they're having a power struggle, and refereeing that and trying to keep everyone happy is a little taxing. And whenever I want to have a moment to myself to bury my face in a screen or a book, there is always some interruption. A cat, somebody calls, and the door, like, I feel a draft coming in, so I have to get up and go like undo everything I was doing, and then go like find where that is coming from and fix it. And I'm just kind of talking about all of that and saying about coming on here feeling like that anyway, when usually I try to deal with it before coming on so it doesn't like come through, is because it's like a constant thing. And like I said, like my little mission right now, I guess, is to learn how to not be so irritated every time there's an interruption. Because I'll tell you, every facet of my life where I'm involved in something and I'm trying to concentrate, something inevitably will come along and try to pull me out of it and make me have to like undo like where I was sitting because it was cold. So I'm like under blankets and stuff, and like get up and go do something for someone else besides myself. And it's just like a cat or whatever, possibly a neighbor sometime or someone that's over. But in every one of those situations, you pretty much don't want to like tear people's heads off because you're irritated. But it has been an ongoing, I don't want to say struggle, but it's like constant, like you think you're done and then the next thing happens and you're like, you don't even have time to go, God, it's like, you got to go deal with it. And when I say you, I mean me. And when I write my pieces and come on here and talk, even if it's about a show, which this one isn't, it just happens, but parts of like how I'm feeling or whatever I'm thinking about will like work their way into it. And I don't know where I was going with that. I'll just put a period on the end of that. But that's what I'm talking about when I say we have to go not beyond the outer like decorative self, but go ahead and turn in and deal with what you got going on in there, like what I was just talking about. Like that's some of my inner thing that I have to get to the root of, like, why in the hell does it irritate me so much? Like today, admittedly, it was like not everyone else's time of day to be sleeping, but I don't even remember what time it was. It was like mid-morning, I think, and I got my cats sorted. They were fed. They were like whatever the stuff I have to do. I don't need to explain all of that, but I had gotten them to go out and I had to wait a while because it's like frost in the morning and it's just snowing and it's raining and it's just cold and damp and in your bones. And one of those cats lives outside, so I wanted to keep him in until it got like somewhat tolerable to let him out. But by the time that came along, I was ready for both of them to go out and let me have some space. And I got all settled. I was like watching the show and trying to concentrate because I wanted to do something with it later. And then all of a sudden there's a knock on the door, and I knew what it was because the management of the apartment complex I live in, they'll have these maintenance raids, I guess. They won't be around, you can't find them, but like their bosses or whatever will say, hey, we're going to do inspections, and they'll come in and fix a bunch of stuff. And I'm not going to go into how disorganized the whole system with this place is, but they'll send you, they'll put like a notice on your door, and it'll be all, hi, we're going to be there between 8:30 and 5:30 and for a week. So you don't know when they're coming. It's worse than a cable appointment because that's just on one day. Like if you're lucky, they're like, here, it's a week. And then the week goes by and you think, oh, good. They decided to like skip my place this time. Nope. They just came back on the next Monday and said, oh, we're done. We're going to do it again. So what I'm saying is you don't know when they're coming. And I'm not going to like change my life because they might be coming, I don't know when. Like, no, that's ridiculous. And so, yes, it was mid-morning, and it's not when everybody else is sleeping, but I had been up all night doing stuff, so that's when I was sleeping, or I was trying to do, because a knock came on the door. Got the cats out, get all the tending to them done, little housework, whatever else I needed to do. I thought I was done. I'm like about to snooze, and knock, knock, knock on the door, and it's the maintenance guy. It was an irritating experience. He didn't know what he was doing. He was like turning off all kinds of things, and I'll just say it, screwing up my modem. That irritates me when I have to fix it because I'm not good at it, and it like gets my nerves all messed up. But you know, I knew that they could have been coming at any time, who knows, and that, like I said, I was trying to sleep at a time where people normally don't, but I also normally don't have people knocking on my door. Like, it's usually safe to just sleep whenever. And I'll just say, I don't know why, in the age of cell phones, they can't have like a list of the numbers and call me first and warn me. Like on the day, they know where they're going to go for the day. I could hear him talking. He had some places he was assigned to go, and he had a question about what he was doing, and he had to call his supervisor or whatever and find out if he had done it right. And I heard him saying, well, I got to go to the other place too. And that implied to me that he had a list of places. So why can they not, in the office where they have a printer, print out some damn numbers where the people can get on their little phones and say, hey, we're coming in an hour, or we're coming in a half an hour. They take so long anyway. What is a few more seconds going to matter? Okay, so that kind of thing obviously irritates me, and I need to get a handle on it. But that's part of like the going inside, and that's what you want to do. You want to find those things that even I know are stupid irritations. And the thing that's making it irritable is not the poor guy. They told me they were coming in a terrible way, but they did tell me, and I knew. And yet I was still irritated. That's what is not right for me. That's what I need to fix. Because when you can just get along better with everybody, I mean, you don't need to be a scientist to understand this. If you're nice to people, they're nice back, like almost always, except for situations where they got something going on where they can't do it. And how do you feel when people are nice to you? Doesn't it feel good? Do you want to lash out and hurt them? Do you, so it's real simple. I'll need to go into like what the lashing out and the hurting is. It's all around us. It's our life. Here's another thing that I really had to work on. And then, of course, it was terrible because I was feeling it either towards me or towards other people, or I should say I was hearing it and it was making me feel bad. And it's kind of why I stopped doing it. So the name calling. You can describe someone, you can characterize them, but you can do it without getting personal and calling names. And what that does when we do it, it kind of gives whoever you're talking to or about justification to come back at you with hostility. So nobody likes that. And I think that one of the things we could all benefit from is learning how to just maybe not do that one little thing. Like you if you're talking about somebody and you're talking about something that you don't approve of or that you feel is negative about that person or what they're doing, that's enough negativity coming from your end. There's no need, in my opinion. Well, I'm just going to use myself as an example, but I just realized, God, I don't have to further dump on them by be an assassin to their character or their appearance. If they're doing something wrong, that's enough right there, because then you start moving into the territory of now you're a bad person too. Then that's just I'm going to relegate those sort of rules to myself, and I'm not expecting anyone else to do what I'm doing, but I am sharing what I'm doing in an attempt to improve myself on that level and others. Oh, 2222. Love that. Yeah, that was the number on the, what do you call the meter, the ticker, the timer, whatever. So that was another thing that I kind of wanted to incorporate into what I had said in the piece that I wrote, but it just started to get too long. But the name calling is part of it. It's another way to elevate yourself with this hollow, I don't know, victory. Ooh, you got it over on someone else because you called them something. And if you think about it, you can see that, man, that is pervasive. But it's part of the whole winning thing, over other people. You have more capital than them, you have more material possessions, you have more plastic surgery, you have more travel, better vehicles. Do you hear what that sounds like? Because to me, it sounds like I have all these things and that makes me better than you. And it's wow, really? Because I think if your fancy car got a flat tire and you didn't have a spare or a tire iron, and I did, and I gave it to you, that whole exchange for me has way more value. Just a little example there. So I think I really don't have much. Well, actually, I do. I always do that. I think I'm done, and then I see behind me something oh yeah. So in the piece that I wrote, I was talking about seeing the floods, and then also the Tower of Babel story, and the aftermath is what we are left with to rebuild and hopefully start over with a better mission in mind, maybe a less avaricious, sort of uncaring, destructive attitude that we have toward each other and the only planet that we have to live on for a really long time. I mean, we may, some of us, be able to fly off and go somewhere else, like to a different planet and make a new life, but that's not going to be possible for everyone. And so the people that are left behind got to deal with what's left and each other. And if it's going to be rough, like, we shouldn't have to wait till it's a disaster or a desperate situation to want to reach out in a helpful, loving way. And I know it's corny with the love, and I feel embarrassed doing it, but I also feel like it's right. It's think about it. When you do loving, sweet things, like, cock-a-doo-doo doesn't come out of it, okay? All right, yeah, I think that's covered it, really. Nope, here comes some more. I just have these examples over and over of how... Nope. Sorry, I'm going to put the brakes on that. Not going to talk about that right now. Like I said, I don't want to beleaguer the point. So anyway, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. In continuation to what I had written in the text. And... again, not an instruction manual. I'm just sort of sharing what I'm learning myself, and man, this always happens. The word is right on the tip of my interpretations of the situation at hand, and like what I see in the world. And I feel like there's a lot of people out there screaming and yelling at each other, and I feel like it's okay to have someone out here saying what I'm saying, like, let's give each other a break. We're all having a hard time, you know, and none of us know what the other person is going through. So, I mean, it's just kind of mean to make it worse just because you're feeling bad. You may not know you're making it worse, or maybe you do, because that happens too. People see like, oh, you're weak, you're having an emotional moment, and now's the time to dive in and attack you like a crazed falcon or something. But yeah, I'm saying let's not. If you think about it, think of the times when people are nasty to you. How good does that feel? And then when people are nice and they really mean it, like, that feels great. Why not give that to each other? That doesn't cost you a thing. It does not interfere with your beloved capitalism that's ruining our world. That's what I think. Got it? Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. So I just want to feature this. It's a friend, sort of, that I met on Facebook that knew me from punk rock. And this is Corky's Leather Jacket is the name of his band. And he sent me the shirt, and I thought that was so kind. And I actually wanted to play their music, but I wanted to get permission. I actually am playing right now Jeff Dahl, and he has given me, like, just wherever you want to use my music. I just really like this song, so I have it on the loop. But Corky's Leather Jacket I like as well. They're like punk rockers of my age, and we have a funny, to me, different perspective from when we were young, screaming and yelling punkers, and to the ones that are younger than us today. There's just a different funny, check it out, Corky's Leather Jacket. And hopefully next time when I come back with a video, I'll be playing it in the background because they said I could. Thank you, and good night.